Okay, we are rolling for the second time. Well, it's probably been more times than that. But I haven't released a lot of them because they haven't been that good. So probably for about the fifth time rolling, but it's for episode number 2. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back to Not Ready Yet Radio. I'm clearly not ready yet. Okay, you can tell by the look in my eyes. You can look in my eyes, tell I'm not ready yet. But this podcast is going ahead because I'm approaching 30 and I haven't done much. Do you know what I mean? So mainly because I thought I wasn't ready yet. You know, which is the irony of it. So that's where that name comes from. Thank you for being here. We're talking about a few things today on the show, mainly what I'm trying to do. So what am I trying to do? Well, what I'm trying to do is this. I've got 6 months, basically. I've got 6 months, not wages. I've saved up 6 months worth of what it costs for me to live, basically. And what we're doing in that 6 months is we're trying to get something going, okay? We've got videos going. We've got beautiful little desk we've got from Argos. Do you know what I mean? There's a computer here, a gorgeous mic. I mean, I could be a football commentator with this mic. John Motchen's wish he had a mic as good as this. Also, his name's not John Motchen, which is what I just said. Okay, like a retarded Sean Connery. You're not allowed to say that word anymore. Like a drunk Sean Connery. Alright, what was I saying? I was trying to correctly pronounce John Motson's name, who is a football commentator. All we're doing is trying to get shit going. I've put money on the stock market, do you know what I mean? Put 450 quid on the stock market in a company that I might tell you about, it might not. That has made about 300 quid in the last 2 weeks, so I've almost made my money back, which is not bad, do you know what I mean? That's not bad for Jack's first soiree into the shares domain. It's what the fuck did I say? Soiree. I've heard that somewhere recently. I have no idea where. Anyway, regardless, so we've done that. What I like to do is to overcomplicate everything. Do you know what I mean? So when I could be doing sort of 1 or 2 things and making myself really, really good at them, what I've ended up doing right now is I've got about 10 things going. We're plate spinning all over the shop. We've got this podcast, which is going to be a little bit of I guess kind of everything that I'm interested in, or that I'm doing, or that I'm thinking about. And what else have I got? I do stand-up comedy, I do open mics. I don't get paid for it yet, but we're working on that as well. I do a little bit of acting here and there. I was on a TV show for 1 episode. It was just this little reenactment thing, played a serial killer. Stand-up that I'm trying to get into, acting. We've got this podcast, you know what I mean, that's now a video podcast, because when you haven't mastered sound, why not just throw some video into the mix? Do you know what I mean? Have 2 tasks, have 2 things that you're trying to master at once, you know, just to make it more difficult for your damn self. So what else we got? I'm writing 2 fucking novels. One of them I like better than the other one, but I'm writing 2 novels as well. So I'm entering those into competitions. What was I saying? I'd hate to have to rewind the podcast to figure out what I was saying. See, this is the thing. I'm 26, right? Almost 27, which, I mean, that shows you young, doesn't it? I might as well have just said I'm 26 and a half. Do you know what I mean? So, but the point is, I'm forgetting. Like, my short-term memory is fucked, man. It is fucked. I thought my short-term memory would be like this when I was like maybe, I don't know, sort of 65 years old plus. And even then, I didn't think my memory would be this bad. So to be like this at 26, I often ask my girlfriend, what was I just saying? And then I watched that Alan Shearer documentary about heading a football, and that worried me, to be fair, because I used to play in defence, and I used to head the long ones, man, that used to come all the way from the other side of the field, and you used to have to put your head on them like that when the ball's all wet. Do you know what I mean? And so I watched the Alan Shearer documentary. I was like, I almost said I watched the Alan Shearer Dementary, because it was a documentary about about dementia. That's a tough one to say, especially when you have dyslexia. There must be someone out there who knows what I mean. And if that's you, welcome back. Welcome back to Not Ready Yet Radio. I'd love to get some ads. I'd love to have put enough episodes out where people say, this boy knows what he's talking about. Or even if he doesn't know what he's talking about, people watch him trying to know what he's talking about. And due to people watching him trying to know what he's talking about, let's give him some advertising money and tell him to say, use our product. Yeah, I would love to get some yeah, that's what they call it, sponsorship in the professional world. See, I wouldn't know, because I just set up my my little studio at home. But so does Mark Maron. I think Mark Maron does his podcast out of his garage or something. I say or something like I don't know. I do know he does it out of his garage, and he does a bloody good job with it. Do you know what I mean? So there's no reason that I can't put a lamp on some DVDs. I mean, all critically acclaimed. Do you know what I mean? We don't fuck about with the DVD collection. You know, who's to say you can't buy a little desk from Argos, hook up a mic that's like a John Watson mic, said it right that time, have your laptop going. Do you know what I mean? And I've forgotten what I was saying again, man. I've forgotten what I was saying again. That's not good, is it? That's really not good at this age. I mean, what am I going to be like when I'm, I mean, even 45, do you know what I mean? 45 is young. But if I'm like this at 26, that's another most of my life. Do you know what I mean? Until I get to 45. And I think this is probably one of the reasons I shouldn't have kids, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, maybe I would be one of those parents that could give them good advice, but I might have forgotten it. Do you know what I mean? I might have had the wisdom and then just forgotten about it. Yeah, there's other reasons why I shouldn't have kids anyway. I mean, I don't think... See, I'm not putting it down, do you know what I mean? I always say that if life could be... Because life right now could be pretty much a maximum of like 100 years. I mean, you're doing pretty well if you've lived past 100 years. You're doing pretty well if you live 90. But let's just say the maximum a human can pretty much reach is 100 years. Now, let's say the maximum you could reach as a human was 200 years instead of 100 years. I would probably have kids then. Because you could still, you could still have kids. You could have kids at like 93. You know what I mean? You can have kids at 93 to 104, you know, and then the rest of your life could be with those, you know, you could be a parent, do you know what I mean? But if it can only be 100 years, and that's a good length, do you know what I mean? I don't think I'll be, I need to time manage a bit better, do you know what I mean? Because... I mean, I know dudes can have kids right up until they're like dead, do you know what I mean? But you know, ideally if I was going to have a kid, I would want to be young enough to be a decent sort of, do you know what I mean, have energy, you know? And to do that, I'd have to have a kid before 50, and there's just no way I'm going to be ready. I mean, there's just no way. Which is why I'm saying, if we could live to 200 instead of 1, you know, I'd have more time, and I'd have more time to be ready for that. But to be honest, I think I'm just going to be one of these people who just doesn't have kids. But I think that's going to catch on, probably. I don't think... saying that, there are a lot of people I went to school with that have got kids, I've heard. But there are a lot of haven't, do you know what I mean? I don't know. Is it going to... Are there going to be more people who just don't bother with it these days? Because people are kind of more doing what they want now, because there's sort of avenues to do what you want a little bit more now. Like back in the day, you had to go and, you know, if you didn't own the business, you were working in the factory, you were sweeping your chimneys, do you know what I mean? Everyone seemed to have hard as fuck jobs back in the day, you know. But now people are kind of like, and they used to follow tradition like a hell of a lot. Like divorce is only like common in the last 100 years or so. And even now in some parts and some religions and stuff, it's like not common at all. Fuck, what was I saying? This is getting ridiculous now, guys. It's getting ridiculous. What was I saying? Okay, so we've got onto divorce. We've gone from something, and we've gone all the way from whatever that was, and we've got to People do what they want. Oh yeah, fucking kids and stuff. Not fucking kids. That was terrible to say. People having kids. That was what I was talking about. I was wondering whether it's going to die out. Not die out completely, but sort of diminish. Do you know what I mean? I think it might diminish. And that's how I got to people talking about people doing what they want. So, you know, it used to be that back in the day, if you wanted to be an artist, out of every 10 people who wanted to be artists, maybe one would go ahead and try and do that. And the other 9 would say, well, I've got to go, you know, I've got to get a job at this factory, there's got to be food on the table, and then I'm just going to do that, and I'm not going to have my head in the clouds, you know what I mean? But as time has gone on, more and more people have kind of, you know, the society has been set up in a certain way where it's been more conducive to people's lives to try and, you know, maybe follow their dreams a little bit more as time has gone on. So, that being said, the tradition of having kids, you know, like a lot of people having kids, even if you think you might not be a great parent, or maybe this isn't for you, you know, maybe that's going to go a different way. I don't know. Why am I even trying to solve this problem? Don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why I'm trying to solve it. So welcome back to Not Ready Yet Radio. This is episode 2. We're still not ready yet. Do you know what I mean? As you've seen. But it looks pretty good, I think. I'm looking at the studio now through the camera. And recently moved in. I didn't think I liked this orange wall when I moved in, but it's growing on me. I don't know whether that's laziness, that I don't want to paint it blue, you know, because that would involve actually painting it. But I think if I was going to paint it a certain colour, I would paint it blue. Maybe blue here on this white wall. I don't know. We'll probably leave it as it is. Yeah, we'll leave it as it is. But I quite like this, man. I quite like this little setup I got here. Now I just need to get people to watch the fucking thing. Do you know what I mean? Or listen to the fucking thing. There was no need to swear. Do you know what I mean? No need to swear. Always stay hydrated. You know, always stay hydrated. I didn't used to drink enough water. I never used to drink as much water as I do now. I'm pissing all the time. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit annoying, but it is healthy. You know, because this might be too much information, but it's a healthier colour now. Do you know what I mean? It's more transparent. I remember drinking so much fizzy Diet Cola product. I don't know how much you're supposed to say. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Can you say Diet Coke and not get sued? I have no idea. I suppose we'll find out. But I remember drinking a hell of a lot of fizzy drinks one time, not drinking a lot of water. My piss was like green, and I thought, that's not right. Do you know what I mean? That's not right. That's not a healthy colour for urine to be. So I thought, we got to change something. More H2O, you know, less fizzy drinks. I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know these days, guys. The world's gone fucking mad. Have you seen the shit that's going on? And I'm not even talking about specific shit, because I kind of get the tip of the iceberg of what's happening with the news, because I just don't watch it. And the reason I don't watch it is it's absolute bollocks, man. A lot of it's absolute bollocks. And by absolute bollocks, I don't mean it's not important. I just mean it's so fucking depressing, and we don't need to know all of it. Do you know what I mean? We don't need to know every single thing that's going on. Let me just take my headphones out. Yeah, I think we're speaking at a decent volume. Okay. Yeah, we don't need to know everything that's going on, man. If it's some massive political thing, all countries are involved, or there's multiple... I mean, okay, tell us some things, do you know what I mean? But if something horrible has happened to someone on the other side of the world, or even... I don't know, man. Like, do we need to... Sorry, this indigestion is an absolute bastard. It's an absolute bastard. Once again, I recommend Zantac for all your indigestion needs. Do you know what I mean? There's only one indigestion need. Get rid of it. Do you know what I mean? That's your only thing. Other indigestion products are available. The fuck was I saying? Do you know what I mean? This podcast should be called What the Fuck Was I Just Saying? Oh yeah, the news, right? Yeah, it's absolute bollocks. We don't need to know a lot of what they're saying, and I've always been a big believer in the grapevine. You know, they made the song for a reason. You hear things on it. Do you know what I mean? If a hurricane's coming, you're going to hear it on the grapevine. I mean, even if you didn't know anyone, you'd hear people talking about it outside because everyone would be so freaked out. There's a fucking hurricane coming. You know, you would hear about it. You wouldn't need the news to report on that. Why did I bring up the news? There was a reason that I brought up the news. Yeah, because I was basically saying that the world's gone crazy, and you might be thinking, well, Jack, if you don't want to watch the news, how do you know the world's gone crazy? And it's just because of what I said. It's because of the grapevine. Let's prove it now. Let's go on. When I never do this, I never seek out news, alright? So we'll go on BBC News, and I'm just going to have a read about what's going on. Do I want to do this? Absolutely not. Do you know what I mean? But I need to have something to talk about, and I'd like to demonstrate why I don't go on the news. Okay. So this is just what's on the homepage. Right, no campaign to drive Labour MPs out. I'm not really sure what that means. Sometimes I read things in a way that they're not supposed to be read. Like I put emphasis on certain words. Okay, no campaign to drive Labour. Okay, Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell rejects claims MPs critical of Jeremy Corbyn. Okay, alright, well that's politics. Okay, so let's know about that. But what's needless? What do we not need on here? Teach religion and worldviews instead of RE. I mean, to be quite honest, I thought RE was religion and worldviews. I mean, it was when I went to school, and I went to school about 10 years ago, just to let people know, give you a time frame. Okay, so it's shit like this I'm talking about. So I've clicked on this article. It says teach religion and worldviews instead of RE. Okay, so now I'm going to have a read of this article because I don't. If RE, I mean, I know it stands for religious education. All right, let's see what they mean by this bollocks. Okay, religious education in England schools should be renamed. Okay, they're talking about renaming it. So I don't think they're talking about changing the actual teaching subjects. I think they're just changing the topic, right? So should be renamed Religion and Worldviews to reflect the diversity of modern Britain, say experts. Okay, what experts? Are these RE experts? British experts? I don't know. Okay. The subject should include non-religious worldviews as well as major faiths, says the Commission of Religious Education final report. Okay, what's a non-religious worldview? That's just the views of individuals, I think. What's it talking about? With an overhaul, the subject could wither. Sorry, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at religious education withering. I'm laughing at the way they've said it. Do you know what I mean? Not, it'll be phased out, or it'll be sort of rendered null and void, but they've put without an overhaul, the subject could wither. And I just kind of thought of a grape on a branch, just sort of, I don't know if a grape on a branch withers. I'm not sure what withers. Apparently RE will soon, if we're not very, very careful, right? Okay, so it says an overhaul, without an overhaul, the subject could wither. The authors warn. I don't know who the authors are. I've double-checked that. That's not my dyslexia. That does say authors. Okay, the Independent Commission was set up 2 years ago by the Religious Education Council of England and Wales amid growing concerns. So there was initial concerns. Let's just point that out. There's always been concerns, but they grew at a certain point, and that's when people started to involve boards and all this stuff. So amid these growing concerns about the quality of RE lessons, these include fears that poor RE could leave pupils ignorant or bigoted. Alright. I mean, I left school in like 2007. Yeah, I don't think it's going to leave anyone bigoted, man. They were very nice. Maybe I just had nice RE teachers. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what this standard RE lesson is like. Maybe it's taught by absolute bastards. I have no idea. But I don't think that's the case. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone's just doing their best. And then the third bullet point they've got is Ofsted's finding that RE is is less than good in about half of schools. Sorry, I know my reading's bad, but also this writing's not very great either. Ofsted finding that RE is less than good in about half of schools. I don't know how, it's not a great way to put that, lads. Come on, and lasses. I'm not being sexist. You know what I mean? Right, less than good. I guess that's a point of grading. I have no idea. The Commission's report confirms that the quality of RE in schools is highly variable. Fucking everything's highly variable, you silly cunt. Oh, alright, okay. So this is... Do you know what? I'm not going to read the rest of the article, but to give them the benefit of the doubt, that's probably a decent point to raise. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's not valid, man, it's always good to sort of look at what's happening in education and say, how can we make it better? Because when I was in school, man, it was boring as fuck. It was so boring, man. I would try and pay attention, and then I would sort of wake up from a daydream like 20 minutes late, having been, and I was thinking, fuck, I've been staring out the window for 20 minutes, and I was trying to pay attention. You know, so think about what it was like when I wasn't trying to pay attention. But I found it was just sort of, I don't know, like it's not, it was all about the teachers really. It wasn't like I wasn't interested in the subjects, they just didn't make them that interesting. It was all about just getting the right or wrong answers and doing it in a certain way, and do you know what I mean? I felt like they didn't care about wanting to be there, and I don't know, I felt like you know, you see a TV show about like a really sort of grizzled old detective that's really cynical and everything, and then, you know, it's got a flashback to when he was like a young hopeful cop. Do you know what I mean? I always thought that about the teachers. Like, they probably started this like well up for some teaching. Do you know what I mean? We're gonna educate, we're gonna generate positive futures. Do you know what I mean? And then they just reached the point where they're just like, fuck this shit, man. I'm just gonna whatever, man. So yeah, maybe it is a good point to raise. I don't know. But what else is on this? I might be talking quietly, but I'm really loud in this microphone. Do you know what I mean? I'm really loud in this microphone. What else is on here? Swedish PM's fascism warning. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj in NY scuffle. Oh shit. See, this is the problem. This is the fucking problem. I don't go on the news, but even I hear Cardi B and Nicki Minaj in NY scuffle, and I go, oh shit, let's have a read of this. So it says, but fucking bear in mind, this is the fucking homepage of the BBC news website. I mean, I can understand if this was like OK Magazine, or is Heat still around? I don't know. Used to be a magazine called Heat. I don't know whether that's still around. What the fuck's going on with my hair? Sorry, I shouldn't have pointed the camera towards me at this point. Yeah, next time I won't do that. It says a simmering feud between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj comes to blows at New York Fashion Week party. Okay, alright, okay, fucking hell, I've been sucked into the news. Alright, this is the first time this has happened. I knew this would happen. The time I want to do a video about how bollocks the news is, I mean, it is. I've proved that, I think, with this being on the front page of like a world news website. No offense to I'm sure they're lovely people, do you know what I mean? But it shouldn't be fucking world news. It's not that important, do you know what I mean? This is like gossip column, TMZ, OK Magazine, Heat potentially if they still exist, content. However, let's have a read of what's been going on. It says a simmering feud between Cardi. Okay, I've already read that bit. Okay, it says Nicki Minaj left the party unscathed, while okay, I've added the B, but her name is Cardi B. While Cardi was allegedly elbowed in the face by a security guard. That's not very good security guarding, man. You can't be elbowing people in the face like that. Come on, son. You're supposed to stop these things. Alright, before throwing a red-heeled shoe at Nicki Minaj. Okay. So what's happened is some words have been exchanged, I would imagine, because unless you're playing against Leeds in the 1970s, I don't think someone just elbows you in the face for no reason. Do you know what I mean? Just fucking as they go past. I mean, that's not polite behaviour. Something must have been said, is what I'm saying, for this to have gone on. So what has gone on here? Right. So what we know so far. Here are the facts. Hang on. What are the facts? Right. So Minaj is not a scratch on her, allegedly. Do you know what I mean? She's left the party and she's unscathed. So we say that one more time. Minaj has left the building unscathed. Well, Cardi was elbowed in the face by a security guard before throwing a red-heeled shoe. And that's before she threw the shoe, man. So that nothing is stopping her. She's fucking determined. Some words must have been said, man, because she's determined. Imagine taking a security guard's elbow, and they always employ big motherfuckers. So you've taken, like, some 6'5" sweaty dude's elbow to your fucking face piece, and then you've got straight up taken off your boot, or in this case, a red high-heeled shoe, and you've thrown it at a pop sensation. Do you know what I mean? That's someone who's determined. Let's scroll down. And I've been hooked in. And I can see why they do this now, because if you're selling advertising on the side of this, and you get idiots like me who think they don't like the news, but then they're all sort of wanting to know what's going on. Is that the end of the article, man? Fuck off. Okay, and that's what I don't like, man. So they wet your beak with all this. Someone threw a shoe, someone got elbowed in the face, a security guard potentially lost his job because he elbowed a woman in the face. I don't know what's happened because they're not telling me. Fucking hell, that is the shortest article I think I've ever read in my life. That's one paragraph. How can that be? How can that even be? Okay, well, that's ridiculous. And I think that sums up my point. This is world news, people. This is world news. So not only do they give you a bullshit story, but they don't even give you the bullshit story. This is basically like a trailer that I had to read it all in subtitles with no audio. Do you know what I mean? Terrible, but it's the world we live in. It's the world. Should we go on another one? Let's have a look on another one. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. What's another news website? See, that's how little I got on the news. I know BBC News and then Sky Sports News, and that's pretty much it. Let's see what's happening on Sky Sports News, actually. Alright, Sky Sports News. Football. I was saying that Spurs should sign Troy Deeney, Watford striker Troy Deeney. Let me say one more time. Watford striker Troy Deeney should move to Tottenham Hotspur. Now, I'm aware that he can't just pack up, move to Tottenham Hotspur. They have to initially show interest in signing him. So come January, I was watching the Spurs Watford game, and fucking ridiculous. Troy Deeney's ridiculous, man, in a good way. Mr. Deeney, if you're watching this, do you know what I mean? And so if he scores that many goals for Watford, do you know what I mean? I'm not saying Watford are a shit team. They're not. They showed tremendous heart against Tottenham on Saturday, and I quite enjoyed watching them, even as a Spurs fan. Do you know what I mean? I quite enjoyed watching how much spirit they showed, and that is why I want him to sign Troy Deeney, because if he can score that many goals with Watford, I mean, imagine what he'd do with the kind of service that Christian Eriksen could give him, or if he went to Liverpool, if he went to Arsenal, if he went to Man United. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's below any of those clubs whatsoever. Because people always like, I don't know. It's just like it was fashionable for people not to like Gary Neville back in the day, even though he's one of the best fucking fullbacks definitely the Premier League's ever seen. Do you know what I mean? But I think I'm rambling. Maybe people don't want to talk about football. I have no idea. See, this is one of the other things I was thinking about. Do I start a football podcast, or do football videos, or do I just talk about football on my regular podcast? Because I don't want to start a football channel and then not keep up with it enough for it to sustain itself. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know if I'm going to be making that many football opinion videos to even kind of do it on a different channel. So I think probably what I'll do is just do it on here. Because to be honest with you, I mean, who's fucking watching this thing? Do you know what I mean? For all I know, whoever's watching this now, this video could have been up for the last 3 years and it's got like fucking 26 views. Do you know what I mean? So this may not even be an issue. So we'll try it out. And if I do get the problem with a lot of viewers, then I'll burn that bridge when I come to it, won't I? I'll just have to burn that bridge when I get there. I think we're making pretty good time, to be quite honest. What have we done? 34 minutes, that's not too bad. To be honest, I'm surprised my phone has lasted this long. The video side of it, I just pointed to the camera there for the audio listeners. This podcast is audio described. That was a fucking silly thing to say, wasn't it? What was I saying? God damn it, this is the last time. It's not the last time. I know damn well that I'm going to forget what I'm saying in a couple of minutes as well. What we're going to do now, guys, welcome back to Not Ready Yet Radio. What we're going to probably do is have a little break. Maybe we'll come back, maybe we won't come back. Do you know what I mean? We will come back. Maybe not tonight. I have no idea. But that's how I like to live. Do you know what I mean? Spontaneously. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I keep surprising myself. Do you know what I mean? Either way, we'll see you soon.